What's up everybody, Jesse here, or GameOverJesse as all of you may know me. Before we get started, we're doing a giveaway for a $20 eShop card or a Nintendo Switch game of your choice. All of the details are in the description below. The best thing about this, we're using Gleam. So we have 5 different ways for you to enter. 2 for subscribing to each of us on YouTube, 2 for following both of us on Twitter, and the last one, tweeting out and sharing the giveaway with your friends.
What's up everyone, it's Chublima, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Overcooked 2 with, I want to say with, but we have GameOverJesse and then Captain Bergerson, and they didn't really play the game. I just kind of got the code and I streamed it live to play with everyone. Yeah, so basically, if you haven't played Overcooked 1, Overcooked is kind of like, it's a really nice like couch co-op. You can play either by yourself or up to 4 players. And so you play in kind of a setting that's really chaotic and really stressful, and you're trying to beat the time and make as many orders as you can, the best that you can, and kind of follow the orders that come up. So for me, I really liked Overcooked 1. I played it a lot with my boyfriend, and it's very stressful, and it's one of those games where you like get really anxious, you yell at each other, or you just like dead silence and have to play. Overcooked 2 is a little bit different, I felt, in the sense that they had added a little bit, like some new mechanics and new recipes. And so for instance, from Overcooked 1 to Overcooked 2, you could throw items across to each other instead of just having to like manually pass it. So there are a lot of really fun kind of things or little like tidbits that they had changed that way. And wow, am I just gonna keep talking about Overcooked because that's amazing?
Yeah,
okay.
Like after you get done, Daniel and I will give you a few questions that we would like to know about the game, but you can continue. The game was, we only got 1 code, but very thankful for the code. Kayla was the biggest fan out of all of us, so we gave the code to her for Switch, and it was actually a very entertaining live stream. Gibbs. So I was worried every time that people give us game codes and stuff to do these interviews. I'm always worried like, oh, well, I don't think you're necessarily going to make the money back from the game, like the $20 or $50, $100, however much something is when someone gives it to us. I'm like, I don't think our viewers are the type of people to go out and buy stuff that we recommend. But every time I'm wrong, because when we did the Blossom Tales, there was a bunch of people that said they bought it. Oh, yeah. And then this time, like, while you were playing, before we even had our official podcast of it, Gibbs, one of our friends from the Discord, bought it on PC. Oh, earlier I said for the Switch. It was not a code for the Switch. I don't know if I said that.
Sorry, I'm playing on Steam right now.
Yeah, which it is also on Switch, though. But Gibbs bought it. The PC version, yeah, he's in the chat right now, he bought it. So Gibbs bought the PC version just from watching the live stream of Kayla and wanting to join in to help her with all of the chaos.
I'm pretty sure he described it as he was tired of watching me suffer, and so he wanted to try and remedy that, and then we suffered together.
Aww.
Yeah.
Nothing like suffering together.
Yes. Yeah, so anyways, so for Overcooked 2, I actually ended up, like Jesse said, I streamed both of the times I ended up playing it, and it was kind of crazy because I got really, like, into it. Like, I played for 3 to 4 hours, like, each time that I played, and I was streaming it just because I got to do it. And so, I believe in Overcooked 2, it has 6 worlds, and you have to get, like, a high enough score in order to keep progressing through the level. It's kind of like, so if you try going into a level and you don't have the high enough score because you've been getting like 1 stars or 2 stars the entire time, you have to backtrack and try to get 3 stars on a level in order to continue and progress through the game. So in that way, it kind of sets like a little bit of like a difficulty. And I want to say one of my favorite things about it actually was the soundtrack, because you don't realize, but as you're really stressed out and you're really concentrated while playing this game, so you're not really too aware of everything happening around you. And as the time goes from like it gets to like the last minute or something, the music gets really intense, and it just kind of starts to get more stressful the more stress that you start feeling in the game.
So, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, you mentioned Gibbs wanted to join because he's seen you getting so stressed out from playing it single player. So when someone joins in, does everything stay exactly the same? It's just 2 people are now doing it, or does the difficulty get harder for more people to join?
So actually that was one thing that really surprised me, because from playing Overcooked 1, I actually never played it alone, so I wasn't really too sure how that worked out. So Overcooked 2, when I got the code from Jesse, I just kind of like, I played by myself for a bit, and I realized how like difficult it was, because you had to control both characters instead of having that other person to control the other person. So it was a lot of like multitasking in a game, which is weird because like I'm used to doing that sort of stuff at work, and then taking that and like putting it into a video game where I have to have my mind like everywhere within the game was a lot of fun for me. But when you have a second player come in, they take over that character that you were controlling, so that way you don't have to worry about whatever that person's doing, and you can continue trying to do your own thing and trying to just kind of like cooperate and try to figure out like a plan in order to get through the level with a high enough score.
You said you played the first one with your boyfriend. Did you play the second one?
We haven't played it with, I haven't played it with him yet.
Okay.
But just because like it's on my Steam account, because the other one we just played on my Nintendo Switch.
Does it have random online to where you can just play with random people, or do you have to know the person to play?
You have to have like people in your friends list in order to play.
Alright, so I won't be able to play with anyone because I have no friends.
What?
No.
We're right here, man.
I'm joking. I'm joking, guys. Okay, so
we were friends.
You haven't been able to play 4 players? Only 2 players?
No, yeah, I've only been able to play up to 2 players, so I can imagine that once you get like the 3rd or the 4th cook in that kitchen, it's going to get crazy. Like, even like with Gibbs, like I know that Jacob in chat always jokes about how we seem like we're a married couple, and we're just kind of like getting back and forth and like just like throwing food at each other. My favorite actually playing with Gibbs was there's a situation where I was like, Gibbs, like, can you pass some meat over here? And so he just like kept taking meat out of the bin and throwing it over, and he threw so much over that I would get stuck on it and I couldn't do anything because he had thrown so much meat at me. So
classic Gibbs.
Yeah, classic Gibbs.
That's why we don't go to LA with Gibbs anymore. No. Okay, so Daniel, do you have any thoughts or questions about the game?
Did, but she answered them all just as she was explaining things. So I have nothing to contribute to this.
All right. What is the thing that you liked? No. Okay. So that's the next question. What was the biggest difference between the first and the second game?
A really big part were like controls, because as I mentioned, like in the second one you could actually throw ingredients to each other. So I feel like if I tried to backtrack and play the first one now, I'd be frustrated, because being able to throw that ingredient over to the other person made your life so much easier than having to physically walk it over. And then there are little things about like kind of in the overworld actually. So in the first one, it was like everything was just like a flat land, and as you kind of unlocked different worlds to go to, they would just kind of pop up on the map. Whereas in the second one, they were like, you'd have to like drive onto like little buttons to like turn the ramp, or like make the ramp come up in order for you to get to different levels within the area. And I feel like they just put a lot more effort into like the different kind of mechanics that they had going on. Sorry, I got really weirded out because my screen just went to sleep.
Alright, yeah, so the question we always ask about games whenever we review them, usually if it's an older game, we'll just list 5 things that we like the most, 5 things we didn't like the most. So what is the thing that you disliked the most, or the thing that you would have changed if you had your choice, that you could just go into the game, change it to make it a little bit different or whatever?
So one thing that as I was playing, in comparison, like playing through Overcooked 1, I noticed that Overcooked 2, like the skill cap for it was a lot lower. And I'm not sure if it's because like maybe during the first one, like maybe people complained because they couldn't play it with their kids, so it was really like the skill cap was just too high and they didn't like that, so they really brought it down in this game. And I was kind of disappointed because like I'm I like that stress. I like knowing, like, oh no, like if I don't get 3 stars, I have to redo this level, or I have to find a new level to redo. And with this one, I found like I basically almost blew through the entire game in 2 sittings, which I thought was crazy because in Overcooked 2 or Overcooked 1, I think it took me like maybe 20 hours.
Oh wow! All right. Well,
but yeah. So that was one thing I definitely didn't like. It was just like the skill cap was like way down in comparison.
Nice. Unless Daniel has a question, my last question, the exact opposite of the previous one. What was the thing that you liked the most about this game? Definitely
that game comes to life when you play with friends. And I know, like, working with Nintendo, like, I'll say that all the time. It's like play video games with friends. It makes it so much better and play together. And that's really, like, that's the thing about Overcooked. That game is all about communication, cooperation, occasionally yelling at each other. And I think that in order to play with friends, kind of form a little bit of, like, a stronger kind of bond because you have to fight in the kitchen. And yeah, that's what I really liked about it. I felt like it kind of, like, Gibbs came out of nowhere and it brought us a game that we could play together instead of playing something like Fortnite. And it just kind of added, like, a little bit of a diversity.
All right. I'm satisfied. I think once I get paid, I'll probably get it on Switch.
Yes.
Just to test it out. Or maybe, since you already have it on PC, maybe I'll get it on PC. Because it seems like a simple enough game that I could run it on my laptop. So, who knows?
Oh, yeah. Like, it doesn't take much to run.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Everyone, like, you should definitely, if you haven't played Overcooked 1 or Overcooked 2, I really suggest it. I feel kind of bummed out because when we were at E3, like, we kind of stood in line to play Overcooked together, and I really wish that we did because it would have been so much more fun to have the 4 of us struggling with that game.
Where was it at?
It was in the Nintendo booth.
Was it? I don't...
Yeah. It was in the far corner. It was, like, past Starlink, because there was that other wall, and I can't remember. There was, like, this,
Yeah.
There was, like, that arcade game that I can't remember what it was called with, like, the weird, like, dragonfly things that you were fighting.
Killer Bee.
Killer Bee, yeah.
Killer Queen Black, or...
Yeah. It was beside that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was too popular, I guess. Because there were some we just skipped out on because it was just like, that's a long wait.
Yeah,
you know?
Patreon supporter in the chat, Bootleg Boy Advance SP, says the first game was insanely hard. Overcooked is a good Switch game. So yeah, Gibbs
that was
corrects
another
us.
thing
Black
that
Queen was the...
I actually wanted to add quickly about Overcooked that the controls from computer to Nintendo Switch, like, I like it a lot more playing on the Nintendo Switch because, like, you can kind of, like, you can fix the key bindings for yourself on Steam, but with the way that it is, like, default, I kept, like, tabbing myself out of the game. yeah, I definitely... I suggest getting it on Nintendo Switch. It's a lot easier and a lot better for the couch co-op feel.
Yeah, that's...
Is it crossplay?
Crossplay?
What? Yeah, it's a crossplay.
Between
I'm
Nintendo
not sure.
and PC?
I don't think so. Oh. I haven't seen anything about it.
I can fact check really quick.
Just I know that Nintendo has been doing a lot of crossplay with everything, but not with Sony. Sony doesn't want any part of that, but I know that PC and Xbox and Switch have had a lot of crossplay games, so it would be nice if that would be cool if doing that.
Yeah, then I wouldn't have to buy it again to play with people.
No,
exactly.
It's not available.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Maybe that's like a future update they can have.
That would be cool.
Like, wasn't it? What's the name? The rocket car soccer game.
Rocket League?
Yeah, Rocket League.
Rocket League, man.
Didn't they add support for that one day?
Yeah, Rocket League has crossplay.
And then...
But not with...
Yeah, there was actually a day, I think it was Rocket League that did it, to where for like one day they flipped the Switch to where PlayStation could play with everyone, and then PlayStation complained, so they turned it back.
Oh.
Because before, I think it was PlayStation had said something about they were looking into it, but there was like they weren't, like they didn't have the ability to do it at that point in time. And then like a month or two later, Rocket League like just let them do it, and then they kind of got in trouble. So then everybody realized it has nothing to do with PlayStation not having the ability to do it. It's not even them that have like they're not the ones that would flip the switch to allow it or whatever. It's because the servers would be the Rocket League servers owned by the Rocket League people. So it's like all up to them. Anyways, I think we can move on. And I may have gotten some of that wrong with the Rocket League, but I remember there was like a big thing about that.
I don't play enough Rocket League to know.
You should.
It's fun.
Alright, 59. 59 people.
Woo!
Editing. Yeah, we can get through this next one really quick. Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Elia Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the GameOverJesse channel, please consider purchasing a GameOverJesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.